You sow an action, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reap a character, you sow a character, you reap a destiny. When I was 15 years old, I came across this ancient Eastern wisdom, and it made a colossal shift in my worldview. I realized that although in the short term, habits can take up a portion of our time and attention, which can be perceived as a limitation on our freedom, in the long run, habits actually make us more free. For example, not having good financial habits means you'll be constantly scraping by, penny pinching. And not having healthy lifestyle habits means you'll constantly be low on energy. By the time we become adults, we rarely notice the habits that are essentially running our lives, and we don't think about how small changes that seem insignificant can lead to impressive long-term results. Developing new habits is a long journey that will take much more than a 30-day experiment. You also have to understand that habits don't work in a linear fashion. They often seem invisible until you reach a critical point and level up in your life. For instance, developing the 15 habits I'm going to share with you today took me over 17 years, and I can only truly evaluate their impact now at age 32. So, do not try to implement all these habits at once. That will only lead to frustration, burnout, and disappointment. Take one habit, focus on it, and only move on to the next one once the first one becomes automatic. These habits may seem simple and obvious, and I'm sure many of you have heard about them before. The problem isn't that you didn't know about these habits, it's that you just never actually implemented them. Let's dive into the list of habits that have truly transformed my life for the better. Being proactive. I started cultivating this habit right after finishing high school and going to university. I realized that if you don't take action, nothing and no one, not even life itself, will just come to you. It's not about running around trying to grab every opportunity. It's more about taking steps towards your goals and dreams. I don't believe we can fully control our lives, but I'm confident that if we take more responsibility and take calculated risks, we'll get more fulfillment from life and a sense that we're truly living our own, not someone else's life. Being an implementer, not just a thinker. By nature, I'm an introvert who loves to retreat and ponder at length before doing anything. This habit helps me not overcomplicate things and get stuck in my own head before taking action. It's about being more of a doer than a thinker. I once saw this picture inspired by Auguste Rodin's sculpture, The Thinker, and it made such a strong impression on me that it even influenced the logo of our company. Saving 50% of any income. Around age 20, I came across the book The Richest Man in Babylon, and it firmly instilled in me the belief that you should only live on a portion of your income and save the rest. If you can live on half your income and save the other half, you'll feel much more financially secure. You'll always have a safety net, and most importantly, you'll always spend less than you earn. I started with 10%, and only in recent years have I gotten to 50%, so I recommend starting small. Reading. This is one of the cornerstones of my ability to learn new things. If I'm studying something new, I try to delve as deeply into the topic as possible and read the best authors. I made a separate video where I go into more detail about my approach to style and personal development. If you feel unremarkable and average, start experimenting with your style. Don't be afraid to try new things and follow your interests. The results will be worth it. Gratitude or prayer. Personally, I believe in God and consider myself a person of faith, but I'm absolutely not religious. For me, there's no contradiction between science and faith. I believe science doesn't create the laws this world operates by, but rather uncovers them. In my case, prayer is about gratitude for everything I have. This is a fundamental habit that helps me in life. Even if you consider yourself an atheist or agnostic, I still recommend taking a couple minutes a day, like before bed, to reflect on what you're genuinely grateful for. Physical exercise. A 10-15-minute morning workout is one of my oldest habits. If you devote just 10-15 minutes a day to a workout focused on one muscle group or goal, you'll definitely see progress over the course of a year. When I'm in a good routine, I try to do full workouts 3 times a week. When I've fallen off the wagon, like now due to heavy workload, I'll do simple minimalist workouts at home with kettlebells and dumbbells 1-2 times a week. Sleep hygiene. I try to be in bed before midnight, air out my bedroom, avoid eating and drinking alcohol at night, put away devices a couple hours before bed, and read in bed. That's the top of my sleep hygiene habits. Order on the desk equals sign order in the mind. If I feel lost on where to start a task, I immediately tidy up my physical and digital workspaces. It's also crucial to set up the ergonomics of your workspace so you can comfortably alternate between sitting and standing work. Unfortunately, I've already dealt with back issues from improper workspace setup, but you can be wiser and get that sorted beforehand. Overall, I try not to torture myself with discipline and willpower, but rather control my surrounding environment. Slowing down. Talking to my parents, I realized there's a big generational difference between their 50s, 60s mindset and that of us 20, 30-year-olds. We're much more focused on fast success than our parents were. But my experience and that of my peers shows that being ready for success is more important than getting it quickly. This habit of slowing down, which I've been working on since the start of this year, has already paid off in terms of my psychological calmness. I used to really struggle with not being able to quickly switch between work and rest, lying awake all night still thinking about work. Now I'm able to take breaks, let go of things, and just sit in silence, sip tea, meditate, or gaze out the window. Decluttering. Freeing myself of unnecessary personal belongings and keeping only the best gives an unforgettable sense of clarity and cleanliness that you just want to come back to. When I'm learning new skills, I become an anti-minimalist, surrounding myself with things and information to really dive into the new topic. But once I've done enough experimentation and know what I need, I calmly let go of the excess and genuinely cherish what remains. Digital minimalism. Everything you consume affects your mood, emotions, and psychological state, even if you're just having something play in the background. Here are the key digital minimalism practices I follow. Turn off all notifications. Avoid reading or watching political news. You'll hear the important stuff anyway. Unsubscribe from 90% of your social media feeds. Keep your phone off your desk and away from your bed. Set time limits on social media apps. Avoid devices for 2-3 hours before bedtime. Take 1 day per week to go device-free. Healthy eating. I try to frequent smaller local farms and markets to buy fresh produce. I experimented with cutting out sugary foods, but that doesn't mean I stopped eating sugar entirely. I just have it a lot less, usually no more than a couple times a month. I also make sure to keep fruit, dried fruit, and nuts in the most visible spots in my kitchen, so healthier snacks are the easy go-to. Water drinking habit. I always have a water bottle next to my bed that I refill and bring with me to my desk throughout the day. And I have a stylish reusable bottle I use for workouts and walks. Time with loved ones. I have family and friends I've known since childhood, school, and university. I don't evaluate them based on status or how they can benefit me, but I know that if they needed help, I'd be there for them, and they'd do the same for me. Offloading thoughts and emotions. This is a habit that saves me on especially busy and emotionally charged days. I just grab a pen and paper and start writing, unloading all my thoughts, fears, worries, and feelings. It's always better to confront your fears and emotions head-on rather than avoid them, and even better to get them out of your head and look at them objectively to figure out what to do. Another important habit I practice is cold exposure. I've been prone to frequent colds since childhood, so cold therapy has become a vital part of my lifestyle. For the past 3 months, I've been taking a cold shower every single day without fail. Beyond the physical benefits, the cold showers energize me, boost my mood, and provide emotional release. Where else can you just let out a yell? It's important to understand that these habits aren't a panacea, and life has its ups and downs. You may fall off the wagon with certain habits sometimes, but the key is that if you've already built these habits, you can quickly get back into the rhythm and restore them. So let me know, what habits have truly transformed your life for the better? I'd love to hear about them.